Welcome to Make a Path Presents. My name's Ronnie Hayes, and today, let's talk The Walking Dead comic, issue 152, recap and review. Let's start off with a real quick recap. First off, Eugene was talking to an unknown individual on the radio, possibly a new character. Then we got Father Gabriel training. Then we got Rick and this punk-ass little kid. Maggie leaves the Alexandria safe zone, headed back for the hilltop, and that punk-ass little kid lets Negan out of his cage. Alright, so starting off right at the top, I want to talk about Eugene just briefly and the radio. This is going to be a conversation or an event in the comic that's most likely going to play out over the next 2 or 3 issues, hopefully leading to a reveal. I don't know if they're going to stretch it out longer than that. It is very possible. However, one thing I am a little worried about was the odd conversation. I should say I was planning on giving the grade first and then going in and explaining why. So right now I'll tell you, this issue in my eyes is a high good issue. I really enjoyed it. And yes, I will put this out there for those who do follow me. Somebody did post the cliffhanger, so that wasn't a punch in the gut. I mean, I knew that coming in, so I just figured the issue was just going to be like, oh, whatever, you know. But I was wrong. I really liked the issue, even though the cliffhanger was a dud in my opinion, because it was spoiled. I mean, the cliffhanger was great, but I just want to put this out there. This was a really good issue. I gave it a high good because I liked it all the way through. My one complaint, though, starting off, would be with the radio right from the bat. Again, that conversation was odd for me, and I hated the moment where they were like, let's keep this between ourselves. I just absolutely hated that. It felt forced, in my opinion. Now, coming up, and I understand people have to be cautious, but I'm going to be mindful of an actual excuse later on. I'm not letting this slide because it bothered me that much, or it got under my skin that much, because there's a lot of fans out there that are saying, hey, what if it's the same thing that happened to Rick, where Eugene's talking to Rosita and Abraham and whoop-de-whoop. And I could understand where a couple fans find that interesting, but I would be utterly repulsed by that choice, because that was like an individual thing for Rick. That was, you know, to his situation, and it was something that was not supernatural, but out there. You know, like Rick broke as a man. Having, mentally, he just broke down. Having Eugene go through literally the same exact thing would now kind of make this seem like this would happen to more people. You know what I mean? Every time in the apocalypse now, every time we get near an electronic device, the dead ones talk to us. So I hate that idea to my core. So I'm hoping this is actually a real person. I bet it is, because I can't see Kirkman just regurgitating that scene again, or that storyline. But yeah, that did bug me a little when they were like, let's keep this a secret. Didn't like that. Even in the conversation, as it was happening, it felt like it was only happening for the plot. So that way they didn't have to use up pages having Eugene run to everyone and go, hey, this is what's going on. Or possibly even to make a big reveal later on. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, other than Eugene, we got Father Gabriel. Now, this is actually really interesting. I like showing Father Gabriel manning up here, and I really liked Dwight's, you know, he's doing good fighting the dead bodies, or the Walking Dead. I'm nervous to see what happens when he finds out we're going to be fighting the living. And I love that line. It was perfect. But it's very interesting watching Gabriel go through this, because he's either being set up to be killed off, or we're going to be getting more of this character, which I'm hoping for. Either or, I'm happy with. If we get more of the character and he dies later on, I'm glad they're shining light on him, because he was relatively useless in a way. He showed up for the Hunter storyline. You know, he was in that storyline. After that, he became kind of like a running joke with fans, because he's one of those characters that are just there. Now, I support that and I stand by that, because in a real life situation, and there's probably plenty of examples of this, you know, in real life, even in wars where people are making history. There's probably people there who entered the scene, did one thing, and then just kind of floated around and was there, but didn't really, you know, contribute much. They might have fought a little bit in the war, they might have did this or helped somebody or gave a church sermon, but they weren't, you know, really involved in deep. They didn't really affect much of the story, and that's like kind of Father Gabriel. So on a realistic level, that's perfectly fine, but I do want to see them flesh him out a little more, and that way we can look back when we reread the comic and be like, yeah, man, Father Gabriel, you know, he came during the Hunters, whoop-de-whoop, this is good, but far from now, he's actually going to do something that really hits home to fans and makes them love him, or maybe even just dies or does something cool. I don't know. That's in the air. Let me know what you think about Father Gabriel. But let's move right on to Rick getting his ass kicked again. I will be straight honest with you. When he first started getting his ass kicked, like when he was pushed to the ground, I was just like, damn it, Kirkman, do you like hate Rick or something? Is this a character you've grown to despise? Because damn, it's getting a little old now to watch Rick get his ass beat. We understand he's not the same warrior that he was. We understand his leg is a bum leg. We understand he's missing an arm. He's beat up, you know. Saving Alexandria has taken a toll on Rick Grimes. We get it. But then when Rick was like, you know what, I had enough of this little punk bastard, and he cracks him with his cane, and then he threatens the shit out of him, I was like, yes. That's the Rick we love. Give us more of that. You know what, this shit is gone on long enough. It's a kid, I let him slide, but you're a fucking idiot. Your dad's a fucking idiot. Your mom's a fucking idiot. They're all dead. If you don't straighten up, you're next. Done. Loved it. Kind of annoyed like Michonne. Don't get compassionate here. This kid's a prick, you know? After that, we see Maggie in one panel leaving. The members of the Hilltop community are finally leaving from staying here after the events of the fair and everything. This was a big deal. Or at least to me, it felt like it was a big deal. Like this was like their vacation away from the Hilltop. And it got ruined by the Whispers. However, they did stay a little while, regroup, they're training people and everything like that. Now, Maggie's going. Jesus is going to stay at Alexandria, but what really bugs me out is knowing the kid who sprung Negan is saying, hey, we can hide with the Hilltop people, and this is awesome because imagine, Negan might just be stowed away just feet away from Maggie. Wow. if you think about that, just like another thing, I did a video for the comic series 5, and they're releasing Prison Negan, like in his prisoner wardrobe with the shit bucket, the bat, and something else. Now they're releasing Prisoner Negan, the action figure, with Glenn, and they're giving Glenn an alternate head that's going to be the bashed head from issue 100. If you just think about that, how subtly awesome and ironic that is, how you have Negan is essentially in prison because of what he did to Glenn. If Negan showed up and just kind of made threats and then, you know, they went to war and that was pretty much it, I highly doubt it would have ended with this much animosity. But Negan's biggest obstacle in his way of forgiveness from Maggie and Rick, his biggest one, in my opinion, is killing Glenn. Because Glenn was such an innocent kid, such a sweetheart, such a good character, and he was very loved. So, you know, it's that keeps fans going, man, I love Negan, but he killed Glenn. Negan's a prick, you know, but I still want to see more of him. But, man, that was foul. So I think that's ironic. They're releasing, you know, Death Glenn, essentially, or the alternate head of Death Glenn, with what is the main reason for putting Negan behind bars. If they just had a difference of opinion, listen, if he didn't kill Glenn, they could have probably came to some kind of agreement, or he would have been in jail for a little bit. But keep in mind, you know, he's a murderer. That's probably why he's in jail for the long haul. Anyway, I love the idea of having Negan stowed away with Maggie, if only she knew. I mean, damn, or maybe she finds out on the road. That would be pretty crazy. Anyhow, moving right along, we got the little punk bastard who frees Negan. This I thought was absolutely great. And they tricked us out with the whole Negan getting out of jail, so I think that kind of kept our suspicions back a little bit. I started falling back and getting comfortable with the idea of Negan kind of teaching Rick a little bit, mentoring Rick a little bit, and how to lead. And I'll be honest with you, that tripped me up. Having Negan fake escape back in issue 141, and then all this hints of Negan kind of giving Rick advice, as in how Negan would lead, it made me comfortable in thinking that Negan wasn't going to get out yet, because his story is right where it needs to be, training Rick, and they're going to yada yada yada. Now I just started seeing signs of maybe that's not the case, because Rick didn't fully utilize Negan's advice. So I started getting a little hint of maybe expanding my predictions elsewhere. But then, boom, they dropped this bomb on us. And I think it was great having this little punk bastard do it, because it didn't feel forced at all. I was reading this and I'm like, yeah, okay, I could see that. He's a dumbass, and he's an asshole. Not Negan, that little punk bastard. And now I cannot wait to watch him get skinned alive by the Whispers. Not Negan, the little punk bastard. Having Negan's backstory coming, by the way, we are getting a Negan backstory. If you missed that video, I will leave it in this in the description, hopefully if I remember. Or on the channel, just look for it. Getting Negan's backstory really makes me confident that we're going to see Negan in the world of The Walking Dead for a while, because we're getting his backstory over a full year. So I think we're going to see Negan for a while. Two more things I want to touch on. Negan seems like he might possibly be hesitant on attacking Rick or working with the Whispers. Now let's look at one thing. One important factor with the Whispers that I think will repulse Negan to his core, and I don't know if we're going to get there yet, so this is going to have to be saved for a prediction video. And I know I totally messed up. I didn't do a full prediction video for issue 152. I totally messed up. This issue snuck up on me, and then it was here and it was too late. But I will be doing prediction videos. I will stay on point with that from now on. But I'm saying Negan is utterly repulsed by rape. And like I said, he protected a woman from being raped, and this was a woman he was planning on killing anyway. You get it? So it's like, it's okay to kill her and use her as a weapon. That's fine. But we're not monsters here. We're not going to rape her. That's, that's crossing the line for Negan. Look at the Whispers. He could, okay, let's check out these Whispers. Let's make a plan. Let's do this. I don't know. Part of me doesn't think Negan would even do that, but let's just say the rape thing feels like something in the story that would lead me to think, yeah, he's not going to go for it. He will stand against the Whispers. I don't know. Something is there that makes me think that or believe that. And then again, I just feel like he's hesitant. I can't see Negan saying, hey, let's go make a deal with these Whispers just yet. I can see him entertaining the idea. And another thing is, I just can't see Negan attacking Rick again. There's something else there. In my opinion, it's like, okay, if he's going to attack Rick again, all right, now we have the Whispers and Negan. Yeah, and then this new character, so the world is getting big, and I love that. But then I'm thinking, what if Negan becomes an ally? He's out of jail now. There's nothing Rick can do about it, so Rick is off the hook. You don't have to make fans mad that Rick let Negan out to help him, and that's a forced storyline to say Rick is going to be like, oh, let's let him out. And I know a lot of fans wanted that, but come on, it's forced. It's fan service to have Rick be like, okay, Negan, come on out and help us win. But if Negan's already out, and there's nothing Rick can do about it, then it makes it less forced and more believable that Rick, being in desperate times, fighting these Whispers, may be outnumbered. Hell, maybe in issue 1, whatever, with Michonne on the cover, maybe Negan comes to her rescue. How crazy would that be? If Negan shows up, slaughters the ones that have her surrounded, and he backs away like, hey, listen, you come after me, I'm gonna fight you back. I'm not going back in jail. So you go your way, I'm gonna go mine, but I got your back. Something like that. I don't know. I mean, if they wanted to push the envelope, they could even have, because the Whispers, how they are, they're rapey. They could even capture Michonne when they ambush them, and then she could even have flashbacks of when the governor got her, because the Whispers plan on taking her right there on the battlefield or something, and Negan could see that, and that could be a reason why Negan's like, hey, you know what? I didn't stop them before because, who gives a fuck about her? She's my enemy anyway, but this is crossing the line here, and then he can go and kill them. I don't know, we're brainstorming here, but the second thing I wanted to talk about was, or the last second thing, was in the letter hacks, Kirkman talked about something that I commented on a while ago, and I'm glad he confirmed it. But he says that we're not getting an all-out war number 2. This war is going to be very different. And not only do we need that to keep from being repetitive, but the story's also built in a way to where it is different. Before, we had a community going, I want you to do this, an oppressor, Negan, a dictator, I want you to do this, and then we had the other communities rebelling against that. That's completely different from, this group saying, okay, this group's a threat. And the other group going, okay, this group's a threat, they're whacked out, whoop-de-whoop. Now they're fighting little mini wars and little mini battles. I don't think right away it's going to be a one huge team on one side, one huge team on the other, going to war like all-out war. And that's essentially what that was. Little mini skirmishes and battles, and maybe some deception, maybe some spies, a Trojan horse. The war has already started. I think a lot of people are waiting for all-out war to begin, and they forget that the war has already started. When Alpha snuck into the fair and then had those 12 people killed, or killed some of them herself, and set up those spikes, that was already the beginning of the war. In Alpha's eyes, now to Rick, that was the beginning of the war. In Alpha's eyes, just them coming into her territory. And I know a lot of people blame Carl, which I'm ready to debate that. I know Carl didn't help the situation, but if you notice when Alpha is talking to Carl, she's like, you know what, I thought this can be avoided, but no, we're going with my plan A. We're going and checking out your group. Alpha had this plan from the beginning, in my eyes. Even if Carl didn't come, Marco and Ken going in their territory, that was a declaration of war in Alpha's eyes. Maybe not, straight up, but in her mind, that was the beginning of the war. So you got to look at it different perspectives for the characters, and we're not going to be getting the all-out war part 2 the way you might be thinking. Anyhow, I love this issue. Again, I give it a high good. In about a week, or maybe even sooner, I'm going to pop out a prediction video for the next issue. But until then, give me your thoughts and opinions about this comic down in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe now.